Change is something that is constant in life. One thing about entrepreneurship is when you see an opportunity, you should understand that change will come that could potentially support your opportunity. What makes the right time for entrepreneurs to get into a market is mainly around two key things: the change in technology, but also seeing a change in the policy environment that could enable those technologies to take place.
Hi, welcome again to another edition of our podcast. I love stories. I love a great novel and coffee. I love a great movie. But more importantly, I like to listen to great conversations with exciting and interesting people. People who are building, creating, scaling, innovating, inventing, thinkers. And that's what this is about. Helping to capture the spirit of Africa in every conversation. Helping to challenge us to see what is possible. They also have their stories, from their high points to their low points and everything in between. Who is our guest today? A young man, promising and exciting entrepreneur who is also solving major problems in the energy sector, Patrick EGESE. Patrick, you're welcome to join us today.
Thank you so much.
Interesting fact, I was on Patrick's podcast maybe a year or 2 years ago. You guys still run the podcast?
No, not anymore, but 2 years ago, I remember.
But that thing was huge because I run into people that will tell me, I saw that podcast. I was like, but why did you guys stop? Are you planning to come back to me?
No, it was...
got busy.
Yeah, so a lot of things happened. So I think the most interesting thing is that we were moving to a different stage of our lives, right? So obviously there was weddings going on, people moving on, traveling to different locations. We also had my co-host also who kind of moved back to the UK as well. So it was obviously, it was quite challenging because just me to kind of do it by myself. But also my business, the energy business, started taking off, which demanded more time for myself as well.
And that's society you have to travel to.
Exactly. But one of the main reasons, we actually achieved the outcome of what we wanted to do. The main reasons for us, because we were new to Nigeria,
Okay.
right? And we wanted to really put ourselves out there to get some network, have some more friends. And look, you're my friend, right? And we're here talking. And I met a bunch of other people through that process. So at the end of the day, we achieved the outcome what we wanted to go, and was a great opportunity. It really exposed a lot of other entrepreneurs in this space as well, and we had fun with it. It was nice fun activity.
The first time you guys gave me these black glasses to wear.
I mean, one of the idea of the show was like everybody has to kind of wear shades, so which made everyone look so cool, and he took the seriousness out of the table.
I'm brilliant, but the title of that podcast is what I want us to start. I just got back.
Yeah, I moved back to
Nigeria, and I think, Patrick, we're talking about Africans, not just in Nigeria, from Ghana to even Kenya. The percentage of Africans who have migrated in the last 5 years is huge. One of the worst we've had in recent times. So a lot of people are looking at Nigeria and they're saying, I don't want to be here. I have to run and survive. You had an opportunity to school abroad. You had a life going on there, and you did the opposite. You looked into Nigeria like, guys, it's time to come make a kill. Why did you get back?
It's a very good question, and every day I also ask that question.
Oh my!
Right? So I mean, honestly speaking, it was at the height of COVID.
Oh.
We were in lockdown in the UK, and I said to myself, okay, we saw the numbers going up every day. People were dying of COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where you still asking your sanity, okay, but if I was to be caught dead, where would I be caught dead and why?
I want to be closer to home.
Like, I want to be closer to home. I know that Lagos is still going to be open, everything will be active
around,
and then at least I could also contribute. I also had this dream of one of the major reasons of me choosing the career path I chose was to bring those knowledge back home to influence people. And I was just done with my PhD at the time. I've finished all the level of education I needed to do. I've had all the experience I need to have. And I asked myself the question of, have you actually realized your dream? And your COVID is coming, you're about to die, but you have not realized your dream. So I said to myself, okay, if I know we're going to die of COVID, let me be on my way to achieve my dream while the COVID is coming, right? So
your mom is still there, yeah?
My mom is still there, yeah.
And your dad as well?
My dad is in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt.
Okay.
So I got on the flight and then came to Nigeria. Also, I was distracted by the lifestyle. But then again,
that happens to you when you say
when you first, and then after the first year, I realized no, we have to really kind of fear it. Well, I was still building at the same, but like every business in Nigeria, it takes a while before you can get the traction, and that patience is what a lot of people don't have. I had that patience. I also had the luxury of having that patience.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that you have to add. You have to be aware of your privilege, right? And then also that allowed me to set up the business, and now we're a very successful business in this space. So
So tell us about that business, because I mean, we've been talking about how Nigeria doesn't even generate enough electricity to power our industrialization, even our domestic consumption today. We've gone into all kinds of policy, whether it was actually privatizing the transmission end from generation to distribution. We've tried everything, whether it's stopping people from distributing IPP, PPP, but you saw that dark hole. And of all the industries, you said, okay, I'll take on power. Why did you take on power, and what have you been able to establish or build with what you're solving with the energy company you're running?
Yeah, so change is something that is constant in life, right? Whatever you see in this room is probably not going to be the same in about 2 years or 3 years. It's always going to be changing, right? And one thing about entrepreneurship is when you see an opportunity, you should understand that change will come that could potentially support your opportunity. And let me give you a clear example. What makes the right time for entrepreneurs to get into a market is mainly around two key things, right? A change in technology, technological change happening, but also seeing a change in the policy environment that could enable those technologies to take place, right? So what I saw, obviously, I spent decades of years in this space in terms of research, working with companies. I've been doing renewable energy systems in the age of 11, even in Nigeria with my dad. Right? They're building solar systems, right?
So his own company is also a solar company.
Yeah, he started a solar company in the 90s, like way before solar was even anything. But he was a pioneer in the space. It was very early. And
maybe
like I said,
a bit ahead of his time.
A little bit ahead of the time. That those components in terms of technology being right and also the policy environment being enabling for that, because it wasn't there. So he wasn't very successful, but he opened my eye to something that could be successful in the future, right? So anyway, long story short, I saw that when I decided to get the move, it wasn't 100% a blind risk. It was also calculated as well. So we saw a lot of changes to the technologies that could solve the problem of energy coming into markets. We also saw the government, Nigerian government, putting stronger policies in place, like privatization of the network, of the electricity network, encourage and embrace subsidies in place that could drive these new innovations coming forward. And when you look at those components, the country might not be great now, but those policies and those technological changes happening would probably potentially make the country much better in the future. So I'd rather position myself in an environment that has very strong growth. And if we look at the growth for the power sector in Nigeria, is huge. I'll give you clear numbers, right? In Africa in general, you have 700 million people that don't have electricity.
700
million people, one of the highest energy access deficits in the whole world.
We're about 1.2 billion.
Exactly.
And so 700, we have even
that's almost 1 in 3.
About 60%. Of our population
have no electricity supply, and that's you cannot solve. You cannot actually grow an economy in that space. Now I'll drag it down to Nigeria, where we live, and it's much more practical for us, right? So in Nigeria, it's 85 million people, and we're 200 million.
Interesting,
right? So 85 million people don't have electricity. That's basically almost 1 in 2. Every 2 people that you see, they're gonna go back home to darkness. One of them will go back home to darkness, right? That's unbelievable. There's no way in the world that should be like. We can never compete as an economy with those numbers, right? So it's our major fundamental problem, because when you have electricity, you get innovations. We have studios like this. We have businesses built. We have all these things coming up. But the other major problem is, it's not a way you can just throw your hand and say, let's just solve it. Let's put everything there, right? Affordability is our biggest problem.
Yes.
We can't afford the cost, the real price of power. We can afford it.
So it has to be subsidized on many levels.
Subsidy is good, but it doesn't allow for a fair fight for what's real. So let's give you an example, right? Gas is subsidized, right? And other things are subsidized, but when you're having new technologies which are coming in that can solve the problem and are much more environmental friendly.
You can redirect your subsidy somewhere else.
Exactly.